G'day guys, welcome back to Off-Road Crusader, and today we are fixing this. Oh, hang on, I'm going to show you. Oily leak. Gotta fix it. So I have a split intercooler, yay. Is a fairly common thing on the 200 series for whatever reason. Essentially where the end tanks meet up to the, I suppose, the radiator core of the intercooler, the welds there seem to split and leak. So you end up with a bit of boost leak, you end up with like any oily residue in the intake system leaks out of there. Of course it is pressurized. Basic sort of description is, you've got turbochargers on the car, they compress air and then force it into the engine. Compressed air heats up just by nature of thermodynamics, and hot air isn't the best for engines, they like cool air. So the intercooler is essentially a giant radiator where the hot compressed air is pushed through the internal of it, and cool ambient air then runs over the intercooler and cools down that charged air, basically making it cooler and denser and making the car run better as well. So you will very much struggle to find many turbo cars without intercoolers, or modern cars I should say. So the 200 series has two turbos. The intercooler works very hard, and as such well, it's understandable that some cars have issues, and if this is it, it's really not too bad. So we're going to replace this intercooler with a upgraded aftermarket version. I'll go over a bit more of that once we get this one off, and I can show you why it's so much better. It is a fairly easy job to do. Really, like once you know how to do it, once you watch this video, you allow 10-15 minutes, you'll be able to have the intercooler off the car. That's granted, nothing goes wrong, but look, we'll show you what happens on there, and yeah, let's get stuck into it. Definitely easy to see it now. All of that oily gunk, all that boost leak, filthy. Good time to replace it. So the final two bolts you need are the two at the back that hold the sort of charge side on. So obviously you can see one here, there's one on the other side as well. So two 12mm nuts, obviously quite difficult to get to. Best way I've found is to have your 12mm socket on a little bendy like that, and then the extension bar allows you to sort of reach down to here from a nice angle, and you can still crack them that way. I would also highly recommend using some sort of penetrant spray. So I use the WD-40 penetrant, which works really well. Just helps to sort of soak in and able to crack these bolts, because obviously if you start rounding them, there's very few ways you're going to be able to correct it without obviously causing a huge amount of time and money loss to the job. So yeah, do spray them with some penetrant to try and crack them first, and then yeah, use your little bendy one and extension, and you should be able to crack it. Very careful and not drop this nut Otherwise it'll disappear into the valley and be gone forever. It will forever rattle. With everything unbolted, we're ready to remove the intercooler from the car. There are there's two sensors at the back. So there's your map sensor and also the air intake temperature sensor, as well as the little vacuum line as well. Very difficult to show you in the car. I'll show you off the car, but you'll be able to see as I sort of pull it apart that I disconnect the sensors and the line, and then I can get out of the car. So let's do that now. So here it is. This is the factory intercooler. There's that oil stain, and there's the back of it. It is filthy. Oil everywhere. It's like a sludge that's built up around here. Pretty nasty. And also, it's a bit difficult to show on camera, but there's a huge amount of like fluff and bugs and leaf litter and stuff that's like jammed in the intercooler fins. So it probably was only working at like 60% efficiency maybe, at a good guess. But essentially that's the factory intercooler there. I'll put up the part number on the screen somewhere around here, and you can search and see how much that part is worth, or this part is worth. I chased up my local parts department and they wanted about $18.50 for a replacement intercooler, which is a huge amount of money. On a car that's only done 124,000 Ks. It seemed like a lot, and especially for replacing it with something that is probably going to have the same issue down the track, I didn't really want to. So I got one of these. Hey, edit boy, do the edit. It worked. So this here is a upgraded performance intercooler by a company called Street Quick Performance here in WA. They're based in Perth, and they do some awesome stuff. If you're looking for anyone about tuning, engine issues, transmission issues, these guys are the people to go and see. So I went and saw John, had a bit of a chat, and we decided that to go with this route, plus some extra fancy stuff as well, but we're talking about this one for now. So this intercooler here looks very similar to the factory one. One important difference though, they cut the end tanks off. So they take these factory intercoolers, they cut the end tanks off, so it's all the factory stuff. They then replace the intercooler, the core, the radiator core, with a high performance core. So this one here is thicker. It has like bars in it rather than these little sort of channels in here. So there's much more airflow that can run through this intercooler. It's stronger, it's purge welded and TIG welded, so it's never gonna leak. And it's a factory fitment. So basically you can unbolt this one, move all your little sort of rubbers and stuff over to the new intercooler, bolt it in, and it is exactly the same. Still fits under the factory shroud, which is awesome. Yeah, it was fantastic. And he advertises these intercoolers as an exchange. So you give him your old intercooler and he gives you a new one. I think it was about 1,900 bucks for the intercooler, which is fantastic. And bang for buck money, it's like, why wouldn't you? So we're going to fit this one into the 200 now. We've got to move over. So there's some mounting bushes here, these rubber bushes. There's also the sensors on the back. Oh, this is a good time to show you. So on the back of the intercooler, you're sort of like looking from where the firewall is. You've got your air temperature sensor, which is this one here. 22mm spanner to undo it. It's only got a copper washer, so nice and easy. There's a map sensor here, so that tells the ECU how much boost pressure is being seen at the manifold. And there's a little vac line underneath as well. You can sort of see there's a barb there where it slides onto. Going forward, what I'm going to do is actually lengthen that length of tube. It's very short and it's very difficult to try and get it back on once you've taken it off. And I think a little bit of a longer tube and a newer tube as well, probably grip onto that barb a little bit better. And yeah, we'll just make it easier down the track if for whatever reason I've got to take the intercooler on and off. So let's get into it. forgot to film it, but you also need to change over these studs from the old intercooler to the new one. These are what the black nuts go down onto to hold the engine cover onto. So if you're planning on obviously still using it, then you'll need to change these studs over. So these ones here, you just need two 10mm nuts. I prefer to use one of them as like a flare nut. So we'll screw that one on, sort of, you know, most of the way down. Screw another one on over the top. You need two 10mm open-ended spanners, so one to hold the bottom. And basically what you want to do is you want to tighten this top nut down onto the second nut. And what that's doing is that's gripping both of those nuts onto the thread. So those nuts are now more engaged with the thread than they are with each other, if that makes sense. And what you can then do is grab one spanner and loosen off the bottom nut. And what that'll do is, because that top nut's in the way, it'll actually grab the threads underneath and start to undo the stud. So you can then turn that, keep turning it, and it will take the stud out. So you can see there the whole thing's turning. On top of these, they do have a tiny little like a Torx bit, so you'd need like a female 6-pointed Torx bit, probably like a little 5mm or something, but I don't have one. And it's in Australia, not many people have Torx bits. So yeah, that's how you get the stud out. So basically you can just use that to completely unwind it. The whole stud will come out, you put it in the new intercooler, and then just do the whole thing in reverse. So you can then obviously tighten it down as it is. So to there. Again, these studs are only holding down a plastic cover, so you don't have to get absolutely mental on them, and you don't really want to damage them either. So once you're happy that the stud's in a good position, hold the bottom nut, and with the top one you can then undo it. That top nut will come off, that nut will come off, and now you have a stud that's installed into the new intercooler. I thought I'd show you the plugs at the back. Where are we? There we go. So you can see there's a grey plug, a black plug, and a vac line with a little filter on the end of it as well. So that vac line goes onto the map sensor, obviously, and the black plug. Now from factory, the vac line is about half that length, which is very tight trying to get it on. And also that map sensor is held in place by a bracket that's behind where that grey plug is, but it basically holds that little grey pod, which is your filter, over to there, and then you map. Yeah, it's very difficult to get everything back on. So what I've done is I've actually got a new bit of vac line, it's about twice as long, and I've left the map filter sort of hanging because there's no weight in it. It'll hold itself in place. It's not going to damage anything, and that makes it easy to get the intercooler on and off for whatever reason I need to. The grey plug is for your air temperature sensor, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So when we put this all on, we basically lay the intercooler over the top, refit all our sensors in that vac line, and then put it in place and bolt it in. So that's great. So the intercooler's all back on. At this stage, you can just pop that one into place, put your nuts on, and away you go. But there is one other thing that we're going to be doing today, and that is putting on some Thermo fans. So I'll go and grab them and you can have a look. So instead of that, you can fit these bad boys. So these are Thermo fans. Essentially they're I think they're about 10 inch, oh there you go, two 10-inch fans, which have been installed on this laser cut steel bracket that sits over the top of the intercooler, which is also made by SQP. It is an absolute work of art, this thing. Very, very impressive. And essentially this fits over the top of the intercooler. There are already nutserts installed into the intercooler, and this picks up on those factory points and sits something like that. From there you can obviously see there's an electrical connection. That goes back to a electronic control box which SQP sell as well, and that basically tells the thermofans to turn on and off. What this does is, because the intercooler relies on ambient air temperature flow through the intercooler, if you're not moving at speed, there's no air passing over this intercooler, because the intercooler is on top of a hot engine. Eventually it just soaks full of heat and is less effective. So these fans are there to drive cool air through the intercooler at all speeds. So obviously your main consideration is low speed. So whenever you're in traffic, whenever you're doing slow stuff on the beach or in the mud or in the rocks or whatever, this is constantly forcing that air through the intercooler, keeping that charged, turbocharged air nice and cool, and yeah, stopping that sort of build-up of heat. So these are something I'll definitely be installing. So because this is also sold through SQP, you can buy them as a bundle. I'm pretty sure he does these for about a smidge under $2,000 for the Thermo fan kit. Yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. It's pretty sweet. I can't wait to get it installed. Let's do it. So this is the sort of brains behind the unit. It doesn't need a lot of brains, but it needs something. So there's two relays here, little PCB board behind, which controls when the fans turn on and off. So that's already pre-programmed in there to set values. So it'll turn on at a certain temperature and turn off at a certain temperature, and you can adjust that as well. So that's pretty cool for this unit. This gets mounted on the firewall. So this bracket, like a pressed sort of stainless steel bracket. I can pick up one of the studs on the firewall that holds the factory loom in place, this big one that runs left to right. So that'll sit behind there against there. First one you got is a temperature probe. That obviously goes in the intercooler itself, so I can fit that in behind the fins, so about there. When the fan is on top, it basically holds that in place. We've got a little negative terminal, so that's for grounding the actual relay and the control stuff. You've got your, where is it? There's a 4-pin Deutsch plug that marries up to the fans on the obviously on the fan kit. They run about 15 amps each under load, so yeah, it needs some beefy wiring, and there definitely is. This kit is just, it is just really, really well made, and yeah, it's just beautiful, absolute work of art. So I'm getting sidetracked. Then you've got this little loom here. So this one, obviously, you've got black is your ground, so that's for the fans. That'll go back to go to a negative. You've got your red, which goes to constant power from the battery, and then yellow, which is your ignition source or switch wire. So that's to tell the whole unit when it can turn on or off. So obviously you don't want these running while the engine's off. This is also where you could put a switch in as well. So if you wanted to, you could actually put a switch in line with this this wire, which would allow you to turn the fans on and off to your choosing, and not just through the little ECU. When you might want to do this, maybe like water crossings, if you don't want sort of water pushing on the fans, or if you just want to turn them off manually and check what the data is different, like how the car drives. That's up to you. Personally, this is such a good kit and everything's quite accessible. I think if I was ever in a situation I wanted to do that, I'd just probably pull a fuse, which would be the easiest way to do it. So I'm not going to add a switch because I think that'll just add unnecessary complexity and points of failure. So look, we're going to get to go installing this. I'm going to put it up on the firewall. What I might do is I'll just do a few short clips of me installing it. You can sort of run through it. I don't need to tell you how to do wiring. So yeah, see you soon. Let's go. Okay, moment of truth. Took a bit longer than I thought. Jinxed myself, I think. My yellow wire goes to a switch wire, so that only turns on with ignition. I've made sure it's not accessory because I don't want these to drain the batteries. Negative straight to the battery. Power, I've run through this neat little fuse box. This is sitting on a quite a new product from K-On. I'll go through that in another video, but do check that out. That's awesome little bit there. But that's got power through a 30 amp fuse, and yeah, we're all ready to go. So I'm going to go hit the, I'm going to say turn the key, but hit the button. And that should light up blue. So let me know, you yell out if you see anything. If you see smoke, send it brake accessory to ignition. There we go, have a win. Yes! Awesome. That's just showing ambient temperature at the moment, or the temperature of the intercooler I should say. But it's working, which is cool. Turns on and off with the switch, which is cool. So yeah, it's automatically set, like they've already got set temperatures where it will tell the fans to turn on and off. So you can obviously adjust those temperatures depending on your driving style and what you're doing, but I'm happy to leave it where it is for now, and probably take it for a spin. We're going to go and trim the surround, so the engine cover that goes over the top, you just trim out where all the little fins go, like the grill that goes over the top so the fan can fit through. And once I put that back on, it should look fairly factory. Gonna do that now, and then we'll throw it on. So guys, thank you very much for watching. This is a intercooler upgrade for the 200 series. Very, very happy with it. The fit and finish of it is absolutely exquisite. I will let you know down the track how it goes in terms of performance. I already know that these products have been tried and tested thoroughly by John at Street Quick Performance. So look, if you're in the market for some performance stuff for your 200 series, do check out their website. They've got heaps of cool info for you. And yeah, I'm keen to go and take this for a drive now and see what it's like. If you do want to support the channel, consider grabbing some merch. So wrapping either a sticker, a patch, or even one of these cool t-shirts. To show off how much you love the Off-Road Crusader, how much you love driving off-road, camping, exploring, where the road ends, and also learning how to fix things and upgrade stuff too. So enjoy guys, and I'll catch you next time on Off-Road Crusader. Cheers.